Hey everyone, Sheila here from Life with Pets. I can't believe there's people already here and I've only just hit the go live button. So I am going to if you just give me 1 second, I'm messing around with several different screens here. So I just want to make sure that they're okay. Can you let me know in the chat if you can hear me okay? I have a microphone plugged in and I'm not sure whether that's going to interfere with the sound or not. Good Vibe says hi from Liverpool. So if you could just let me know if you can hear me, and I am going to just do a check on here. Okay, I think we're all set up. Where is he? There he is. There we go. Okay, James, try typing something now and see if that works. Sorry, that's my son. My son is watching from university. He normally would actually mod for me, and he's going to try and do it from there. So thank you, Amber. It is really good to see you. Oh, it looks like it's worked for him as well. So that is good. So it has been a while since I have done a live stream. So hello from USF. Yeah, that's where he is. So it's been a while since I've done a live stream, and I definitely haven't done one for a while on the weekend. Just let me adjust this a little bit. There we go. I was feeling like I was cut off right up here. So let's see. Jason says, I live in Conway. Is that in the UK or in the US? I'm not sure where that is. I'm not familiar with that one. Octavia says, hi, I love your channel. Everything Aquatic says hi all. So it might seem a bit weird the way I'm looking. I'm trying this out on my new phone. I finally updated my phone and hopefully the quality is going to be a lot better, but it's funny, it's a bit weird the way it brings up the chat, so I apologize if it doesn't look like I'm looking at you, but I'm actually reading the chat, so you're going to have to bear with me on that one. So I'm going to just go on to this one, and then maybe I can pull the chat up a little better, but then that's going to mean I'm looking down this way as well, so you're going to have to bear with me with that as well. All right, there we go. So yeah, in case the chat goes off, is the audio off? Is anyone else having trouble with the audio? Crystal clear. Okay, that's great. So I have my son modding, and believe it or not, the Life with Pets is my husband modding. So we are well and truly a family affair today. Love your channel. God bless you. Thank you very, very much. Okay, so yeah, so as I was saying, it's been a while since we've done a live stream on a weekend. In fact, I think it's been about 3 weeks since we've even done a live stream. So I thought that it was probably about time that I did one. So audio is good. Okay, if anyone is having trouble with the audio, then maybe just try refreshing your page and see if that makes a difference. But hopefully it will. So, hey girl, back at you. Thank you. All right, let's see if we've got any questions here. Like I say, I am going to be looking down a little bit. Oh, Flynn's Fish Forum is here. Hi, Flynn. It's good to see you. I'm going to be looking down here to see the chat. If you like the poster, well, thank you. This actually came from the beta show that we've just recently gone to. And they were giving away these. Well, I think they were giving away. They gave one to us anyway. I'm not sure what the setup was for everybody else, but they did give one to us, and I really like it because it's got just about every tail type on, and it is approved by the IBC as well. So, because that was who the show was actually done through. So we just hung it up behind me while I did the live stream. So, all right. So let's have a look. All right, what is the next beta project? Well, as I've said in the last few videos, we have been working, well, we've just got 2 new beta fish, and then we have been working on tank setup for them. So the next few videos is going to actually be beta fish videos. We're going to be doing we're going to do a new divided tank setup, and then obviously showing the new beta fish, one of which, I keep saying this, but one of which comes with a really sad story. And so I'm going to be telling that story as I show the fish. I think that's in about 2 weeks. I think next week's is going to be the beta tank, and then the week after is the beta fish. And then we literally spent all day yesterday making videos. So it was a long day yesterday, but we did get several out. Yay, always love more betas. You can never have too many betas, Amber, that is for sure. So yeah, we have added 2 as well. All right, so let's see. Yes, thank you, Jonathan, for sure. Please make sure that you like this stream. Give it a big thumbs up. All right, so where was the beta show? It was actually close to Tampa. Apparently they do it every year, and I didn't even know that they did. This is the first one that we've ever been to, and it was absolutely fantastic. I really enjoyed it, met some really nice people. It was a really great time. If you haven't seen the video, we do have a recent video. If you go back maybe 2 or 3 videos, then there's actually a video that we did on it, so you can take a look at that one. All right, what size tank would you recommend for 2 2-inch goldfish? Well, for me personally, I think that they should go in the size that you're going to need them in to start with. So I'm assuming they're fancy goldfish. And if they're fancies, then I would say minimum 30 gallons, preferable 40, because the size they are now is really irrelevant. Goldfish grow pretty quickly if given the correct care. So to put them in anything smaller, they would soon outgrow it, which means you're spending money twice. This is the thing that I struggle with a lot of like videos I watch. You know, people keep buying these temporary tanks and they're spending like $30, $40 on them or whatever. And then they're then going to need to upgrade them in a month, 2 months or whatever. And I just don't see the point. You know, to me, buy what the fish needs at the beginning, because let's face it, in the long term, it's going to cost you a lot less money. So if I were you, I would buy what the fish needs, and then you're not going to have to do it again. Just make sure you've got a lot of filtration on the tank, and you should be good to go. All right, so if Amber is still in the chat, Amber, if you see any questions, particularly betas and illness and that sort of stuff, Amber is the girl for all that. She is so knowledgeable. You probably will have seen her on the aquatic experience videos quite a lot because she was there, and she has just done a recent video with Creative Pet Keeping. She did a fish tank tour. If you haven't seen that, I think I've got that listed on my community tab. But if you want to go see Kasha's whole fish room tour, that was great. But I tell you what was the best part of the video, all the bloopers at the end. They were absolutely hilarious. So recommend going watching that video, and it's Big City Beta's channel. So go check that channel out. All right, so let's see what we've got here. Are you selling plants? Yes, we do. We sell frogbit, and we do guppy grass and moss balls, and the Anubias Nana Petite, we do that one. If any of the mods could get our website link and just put that in there, that would be great. But if not, I will do a link at the end, in the description box at the end. But yeah, we sell those, and then I do occasionally sell the Anchorias or Anacharis, depending how you say it. But that one we only really do through Instagram, because there are so many states where it is illegal to ship it into. And so I have to make sure that it's not going to one of those states. I think there's something like 12 or 14 states that particular plant is not allowed to be shipped across state lines. So we do that one as well. All right, so let's see what else we've got here. Have you ever seen a king female beta? I have a male and would love to breed him. I can't say that I have. I mean, I've only ever seen king betas actually online. I've never seen one in person, and I don't think there was even any at the show. I might have been wrong on that. I might have missed it, but I don't think there was. So I actually haven't seen any even in person. Although, actually, no, that's not true. I did see one in Petco once, but I've only ever seen it once. So yeah, I can't help with that one. All right, what else have we got here? When's the beta show? The beta show was actually about 2 or 3 weeks ago. So it's already been and gone. I believe that there's going to be another, I don't know whether it's a beta show or a fish show over in the Tampa area again in, I think it's supposed to be November, but I need to find out more details on that. And I do believe they do one also in April, May, I think it was. So I do usually put the details of those on our community tab. so that people can see them, and that's here on YouTube. If you don't follow us on Instagram, you will get a lot more sort of what's going on Instagram. For instance, we lost one of our puppies, and that was actually put out on Instagram over before YouTube. So if you're wanting to sort of know things maybe a little bit quicker, then Instagram is a good way to go. We do sort of a lot of stories on there, and then we do put out a lot of other stuff as well. Am I selling guppies? No, we don't actually. Well, we do still have, we have actually one guppy left. We sold most of them, and we still just have a female left. So, all right, so let's see what we've got else. I don't see a video. Is that the beta show? I don't know whether I called it that. I'm not quite sure what I called it. If anyone can find the link to that, then go ahead and put it in the chat. All right, let's see. Can you keep a beta with a goldfish? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. They have very, very different requirements for a start, but the beta fish are likely to be very aggressive towards the goldfish. And actually, it can actually be vice versa as well. So no, they have very, very different requirements. Beta fish need much higher temperatures than goldfish do. So no, that would definitely be a bad idea. Okay, let's see. How can you help a bored beta fish? For me, I think that the environment is everything. So if you provide a stimulating environment, then obviously that is going to help a great deal. So, you know, lots of plants for them to sort of swim in and out of, lots of places to hide. You know, most people, when it comes to tank setups, they're very, very basic. Usually, you know, maybe a plant or two, or maybe one decoration, and ideally the beta fish need so much more than that. So I would just maybe take a look at how the tank is set up. Also, you can do enrichment with feeding. With us, when it comes to feeding, we sort of like scatter food all over. We don't just sort of like, you know, you 1, 2, 3 pellets and that's it, you've been fed. We sort of try to mix things up. When I'm feeding frozen foods, I will sort of put them much lower down in the tank so that they've got to forage for them and things like that. So you can get creative with in a lot of different ways. Okay, I have 12 mystery snails, 3 ivory, 3 blue, 4 black and 2 gold. Can I paint their shells with nail polish? I'm only 14, so I don't know as much as you guys. No, you must not paint their shells. It is actually very toxic. I do know that I have seen some videos where people have done that, but it is far from ideal. So I would say no, please don't do that to your snails. I mean, to me, they have really pretty shells anyway, so you don't need to mess around with that. What am I going to assume that's plant, not planet? What plant do you recommend for goldfish? I would say Anubias is probably the one that we've had the most success with. We have tried many different ones, and he basically destroys just about anything and everything. But the Anubias we haven't had an issue with. He doesn't seem to eat at it. I will say if a leaf dies, then he sometimes will have a go at it, but for the most part, he doesn't. All right. Okay, let's see, what else have we got? Am I selling guppies? No, I think I covered that one before. No. Jenny, sorry about your little pup. Thank you very much. It was a huge shock to us all. It was very, very upsetting. It was not expected. So it was, yeah, it was very, very sad. We're still getting over that one. With our other 2 dogs, we had time to prepare. We knew it was coming. Whereas with little Lucy, she went from perfectly healthy to dead within literally, I think it was about 8-9 days. It wasn't very long, so it was a huge shock to us, so thank you. Okay, let's see. Do you need a heater for all tanks? It really depends what fish you've got. The likes of goldfish, no, you don't need a heater. If it's tropical fish, then I would say yes, you do, unless you live somewhere where you have a consistent temperature. We are fortunate in that whilst I know I sound English, I actually live in Florida, and so we are very fortunate in that all our tanks sit at 78 degrees, so we don't really need a heater in any of them. Now, through the winter months where it does get cooler, then we do add heaters to the tanks, and that's simply because the house fluctuation, the house will fluctuate in temperature, and so then obviously that temperature is not stable. So if you live somewhere where it's hot in the day and cold at night, you can't really have that fluctuation in temperature, so you would still need a heater at that point. But yeah, most tanks do need heaters. We're just very fortunate in that we don't for most of the year, but you will start noticing. I mean, we do sometimes just leave them in some of the tanks. We don't physically take them out, but you will see that in a lot of our tanks we don't have them, but we do add them for the winter. All right, I am getting there. Oh, hi Susan, I didn't see you come on in. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining us. All right. Okay, can you keep a betta in a guppy breeding tank, or will it eat the fry? I think that this one is probably on a case-by-case basis. We have had a 20-gallon long. It was extremely heavily planted, and we did have guppies and betta fish in there. We didn't have a problem. Now, that is not to say that some of the babies probably will have been eaten. I mean, that's just the natural course of things. However, we still ended up with an awful lot of babies. So if the tank is very heavily planted and you've sort of done more of what I would call a natural setup, then absolutely, I don't see any reason why not. But it really would depend on the betta fish and exactly really what you're going for within your breeding program, I guess. Let's see what else we've got here. You should get a discus tank. You know, discus I think are really beautiful. I think they're a beautiful fish. I just don't know that I could do with how sort of you've really got to keep the water pristine. And I mean, all our water in our tanks, the parameters are excellent. And, you know, we do our absolute best to make sure that everything stays that way. But I don't know that I would want a tank that it would have to be that way no matter what. Like the likes of, for instance, last year when we were involved in the hurricane and we had no power for 9 days, I don't know that discus would have survived that. So knowing that that is a possibility for us, our power does go out on a fairly regular basis, not for 9 days. It doesn't go out for that long, but it can go out for sort of 3, 4, 5 hours or even longer. It's done that. So for us, I don't think that discus would be a suitable fish. Excuse me while I take a drink. Okay. I heard no gravel for bettas. What is your take on that? You're going to hear a lot of different opinions on whether tanks should have gravel, whether they should have sand, whether there should be absolutely nothing in the bottom. I think that if it is to the fish's detriment, let's say, for instance, a goldfish, to me, it is unsafe to use gravel in a goldfish tank because they do risk, because they suck in stones a great deal to sort of like filter out any food and then they spit it out. They really do run the risk of getting them stuck in their mouths. It happens quite often and it does kill goldfish. So to me, that is to the detriment of the fish. Whereas when it comes to betta fish, I don't think that it's particularly, it doesn't really matter. There's no, I don't think that there's any detriment to them. I don't think that it's unsafe for them. So in my opinion, gravel is perfectly fine. We do actually have sand in all our tanks, or we've got like a plant substrate. So for us, we don't actually use gravel in any of our tanks, but that's just a personal preference. Glad to have caught a stream. Hi from the north of England. Whereabouts in England are you from in the north? Oh, what's this? Okay, thank you. I wanted to know before I go and do it. They are in with 5 female betas in a 10-gallon. I'm trying to get a new tank. Oh, so I'm assuming you've already got the beta fish in with the, yeah, I would definitely try and sort that out if possible. What fish do you recommend for a 5-gallon? I think obviously a beta fish is a good fish. And then I think a lot of the nano species, I am not really up on those, so I can't really go into detail. But for me, I think that, I mean, a lot of people would say maybe neon tetras and things like that, but personally, I think that's way too small, just because you have to have a good amount of them for them to be happy. And also they are a fish that do really like to swim, and so in 5 gallons that isn't really enough. But you know, so that's I want to say that's my personal opinion. And so I would say look at nano species, and Rachel O'Leary's a good one for that. She's got a lot of those on her channel, so go check that one out. All right. Why isn't my beta fish not doing a bubble nest? Not all of them do. I have one male right now who has never done a bubble nest. They don't all do it, but most of the time it is when they reach maturity, and then they will start doing bubble nests. Also, it can be that they are actually doing them, but maybe the flow on the top of your tank is not strong enough. Or is too strong, and so it's basically destroying it. But it's not a big deal. Some do, some don't, and it doesn't mean that your fish is unhealthy or unhappy or anything like that. It is just a natural process of something they do, but they don't all do it. All right. Let's see. This chat keeps coming and going and coming and going. Do you like wild type betas? I do. It's something I have sort of loosely looked into and have done some research on, but at the moment I'm not fully persuaded, shall we say, to go into the wild betas. I think probably maybe as we see more and more of them. I also think as well that at the moment, because they are becoming sort of, I want to say, bigger and bigger, it concerns me that maybe they'll end up being overbred, or that, you know, sort of will have those issues as well. So for me, it's not something I want to jump into. I know that there are several sort of YouTubers doing it, and I think that's fantastic. They've got them from good sources, and that I think that that is really good, because obviously they're opening up people to wild beta fish. But for me personally right now, I wouldn't get them, but I am researching them, I will say that, and there's so many different types as well. But I have been doing a lot of research on them, yes. All right, let's see. So we seem to have a wild beta discussion going on right now. Between two people, there seems to be a lot of going backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. All right, let's see. Okay, my chat has just skipped, so bear with me. So if you got a new beta fish, what would be your steps? Okay, so we have just got 2 new beta fish. So what we tend to do with them is we will put them into quarantine. Now that could actually be straight into the tank they're going into if there's no other fish. If I have 2 together from the same source, then I would have no issue if they were going in a divided tank, putting them in together. I don't medicate straight away unless I see an issue. I do make sure that I do extra water changes just to make sure that, you know, sort of everything is good, because usually the conditions they come out of are not very good depending where you get them from. And so I would say that, yeah, that's usually sort of the process I go through. I do watch them obviously a lot closer over the first period of keeping them, usually the first 2 to 3 weeks. I have noticed that Blaze, our import that we got, I don't know, a month and a half, 2 months back, probably about 2 months back now, has started sort of a little growth on his mouth. And I don't know if anyone else has experienced this. Now, here we go. Here's something. Let me know in the chat if anyone else has experienced this. It seems that every single import that we get has a lot more problems. All our store-bought betta fish have lived so much longer than our imports. And when I say so much longer, I'm talking a year to a year and a half longer. You know, their care, their setups are all very, very similar. Water parameters, very similar, if not identical, near enough. And yet all fed the same diet, and yet we have had a lot more issues with imports. And so that was one of the things that sort of swayed me to buy more locally, because I do know that the store that we bought them from, they don't actually, well, they do import some of them, however most of them are locally bred and then brought in. Now, they may have been bred from imports, I don't know, but I have definitely had a better experience with buying them from the store over getting them online and import. So that's just my take on that. It would be interesting to see what you guys have experienced as well. All right, what else? Oh, you're near Newcastle. Okay, I was we were Liverpool, and then I actually lived in Southport for a while as well. So, how many bettas do we currently have? We have one, two. We've got 4, just 4 right now. I say slowly building them back up. I think for the time being, because we've been breaking down some of our tanks, we've sort of gone from 8 or 9 tanks, and we're now at 2, 4, 6 tanks. So we have sort of been cutting our workload just because things have been so busy here. So right now, yeah, just the 4. All right, let's see. Big City Baser says, my fish room is now mostly wilds. I don't believe anyone in the hobby is currently offering unrelated pairs. And that's a real issue with wild breeding these days. Yeah, I would totally agree that if not careful, it's going to become a real issue. All right, let's see. Racing Natural Aquariums is here. Hello to you. Natalie 28X says, I have 11 bettas and 12 just betta tanks. Wow, that's a lot. All right. Rob, I use the 10-gallon kit with my Tetra tank. I'm trying to find Rob's comment. Oh, okay, found it. Question, with your dividers, what would be the best one that would work with the 10-gallon Tetra kit? Now, Susan, you're saying that actually worked with your Tetra kit, because when we tested it, the divider didn't fit. We recommend the dividers. For those of you that don't know what we're talking about, we sell betta fish tank dividers. If somebody could leave a link to them, that would be really good in the comments. We have found with they'll fit the basic Tetra tank, because you can buy just the tank at PetSmart, but with the kit, to my knowledge, they're not going to fit. Now, if Susan's saying it did fit, that's interesting. But we do the Aqueon dividers. Oh, that's right, it was an Aqueon tank. Okay, you had me worried there for a minute, Susan. Okay, what's going on? Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, we do the dividers for Aqueon tanks, and actually most of the kits, but it doesn't fit all of them. They keep moving the goalposts on us. And then we do dividers for the top fin tanks, and also I think Marineland, they fit the Marineland, and then just the basic Tetra tank as well. So it's just the basic tanks on those, but it does the top fin kit, it does do that one. But we keep sort of trying to tweak it and change it, but like I say, they keep changing and tweaking their tanks as well, so it becomes that at the end of the day, we just can't make them for every single tank. It's just unfortunate. So we are looking to be able to do maybe some bigger dividers, but we've got issues with that as well, so we're working on it, but we're not there yet. All right, let's see what else we've got. right, where can I get wild betas? I think there's several places that do them, but it's not something that I'm not into right now. I don't know if Taylor from Simply Betas is selling hers. I'm not really sure. But at the moment, I think that very often wilds are being kept sort of more within a circle of people because they're trying to sort of protect that, but I'm not too sure. So, all right. Do the dividers ever fit a rimless tank? They don't, because of the way that we have done them. Then they're not going to fit. They're not going to stay in place because of the way that we have them fitting. I think that if you could get a really good fit on the tank and you were using substrate, they probably actually would be secure enough. However, it's not something that we would recommend just because the clips on the top that actually sort of like fasten onto the rim, they make it that they are then completely secure. So, all right. Actually, plenty of platy. We can ship to England. The only thing I would say, I mean, if you want to email me or direct message me on Instagram, then feel free to do so. We have actually shipped to the Philippines. We've shipped to, in fact, we're just getting ready to ship to Puerto Rico. We've shipped to Australia, but we do it more by message or email. And the reason for that is because your tank sizes are different. And so we sort of have to go through the whole process of which divider would work for you, and then also how you would then go about cutting it down. They can be cut down, but obviously, you know, that takes a process to do it. It's not difficult, but it is a process to do it. So if that is something that you're interested in, then like I say, if you're on Instagram, our Instagram is lifewithpets72. If you're on Instagram and you want to DM me, then go ahead and do that, and we can maybe talk about the possibilities. Just be aware though, shipping is expensive. I know for Canada, we do ship a lot to Canada, and it's about $15–16 shipping, and I suspect that England would be the same. But yeah, we can do it. We had somebody recently did Australia, and they paid so much money, it was crazy. But it all worked out for them because we went through that process. So if you are interested, then let me know. Let's see. Yeah, I agree with you, Amber. I agree with you. It's one of the reasons right now it's something I'm not wanting to get into. All right. Oh, D from Down the Wormhole is here at work, but had to sneak in for a bit. Well, thank you for stopping by. All right. Hi all, I don't know that I can stay, but here for a sec. Well, again, thank you for stopping by. Shadows and City Lights, we are live. Yes, we are. It has been a while, actually, since we were live. So I thought that I would do a Saturday. It's been a while since I've done a Saturday, which is, you know, really good too. So we are going to be doing some videos on beta fish over the next few. We sort of get so many people, please do more beta fish, and then we get a load of people, please do more goldfish videos. So we sort of keep getting like pulled from side to side. So we have several beta fish videos about to come out, and then we also have I do have some ideas as well for the goldfish one. So if you've got any other ideas of videos that you want, then go ahead and either leave them in the comments of this, although it probably would be better if you actually left them in the comments on the actual video when it goes up. That I think would probably be better. So how long do you, oh, it's gone off the screen, where did that go? How long do you think a beta fish can go in a bag for travel? Well, when you think about, we ship beta fish, you know, as long as they are done correctly, then I would say 2 to 3 days is okay. If it's for travel that you are moving house or that sort of thing, then if I were you, I would pack it up as if you were going to ship it, and then that way you know that it's in the best sort of the best condition it can be in. Do you think you will breed betas again? I don't know. I don't know. I enjoyed the process. I enjoyed it very much. it was a lot of work, and I think that it's something that you have to really enjoy, but I also think that it's something that you have to have a goal in mind. I feel that breeding betta fish seems to be good views on YouTube for sure. I mean, it's one of our biggest viewed videos is the actual breeding series, but we have never been one to do videos for views. I will say that it's not something that we would pick a topic because it's going to get a load of views. So I know that some people will breed videos just because of breed videos, breed betta fish because they want the views. So I'm not sure. I think it's something that you have to be very, very passionate about. The likes of Kasha and Taylor from Simply Bettas, obviously that is something they're so passionate about, and I think it's great that they do those videos because it's something that they're really into and it does educate. We do get a lot of questions, and I have thought about doing it again to maybe address those questions and stuff, but it's time consuming, it's costly, and like I say, I think it's something you've got to be really passionate about. So we have no plans to do it, certainly for the rest of this year and into the beginning of next year, but I don't want to say I would never do it again, because I do think that I would. So yeah, I totally agree that too many people breed for the wrong reasons. That's what Amber's saying, that unfortunately on YouTube it does seem to have become the thing to do, and unless researched properly and all the equipment is there and all the setup is there, and then you should be breeding for education and for healthier fish for sure. That's for sure. I don't think that there's any issue in doing it if it's just something that you want to experience and it's a one-off, but I still think it should be very carefully done. I still think it should be carefully done. Betta fish now, especially the Splendens, are just so overbred that there's so many faults and so many issues, and most don't live very long, and I just think that is very, very sad. So yeah. All right. Oh, you made it. Give me 1 second. I am going to add you. Okay, Brianna, comment again and hopefully you'll be on and you'll have your spanner. Okay. All right. I'm hoping that's who I think it is because I've just added them as a moderator. Okay. Got to go. Thank you, Susan. Thank you very, very much for stopping by. Just don't expect to make money and expect to fail at least once. That's betta breeding. Absolutely. I mean, I feel that when we did it, we failed big time. It was our first time of doing it. And I do feel that we failed because most of ours ended up with no ventral fins, and to me that was a huge failure. I discovered afterwards that it can be linked to, there's a lot of differing opinions, but that it can be linked to the microworms and bacteria and all this sort of stuff. So I just think that I've lost my train of thought now. Oh yeah, the breeding basis. Yeah, so I feel that we really did fail. I feel we failed in doing it, and I think that probably plays a part into why I don't want to do it again. What if it happens again and you're putting it out there on YouTube? But at the end of the day, we didn't hide it. We still put it out there. We talked about the issues that went with it, and thankfully for us, it didn't make any difference in selling them. I think had they been long-finned betta fish and not placottes, then I think that them not having the ventral fins would have been an issue, and I don't think we would have sold them. But thankfully, people were so gracious and they just didn't mind, and we did sell them obviously a lot cheaper, and so that all worked out really well for us. So, all right, so let me see what's going on here. Okay, I'm kind of looking to forward to buying some shrimp from you, but kind of scared of the care because I've heard they're really sensitive. I was exactly the same, Shadow of City Lights. I stayed away from shrimp for the longest time until it would be now about 2 years ago. I met up with a subscriber and they gave us a load of cherry shrimp, which are the shrimp that you still see today, that they have just overpopulated and so on. And so I thought exactly the same when I got them. I really carefully acclimated them, and I was like paranoid about their care. But I am telling you, those cherry shrimp are the hardiest shrimp you will ever get. They are just amazing. We have moved them from tank to tank. We've now got them in, I think, 3 different tanks, and they're breeding like crazy. We rarely have them up for sale on our website, but we do actually have, I think, 2 lots up now. We did sell 1, I think it was yesterday, and so I'm not sure if there's 1 or 2 lots up, and then that'll be it for a while, because obviously we just do it as they naturally breed. So if they are something that you want in, then like I say, don't worry about it. We do always send out extra in case there is loss with them. But that doesn't happen. In fact, I think it's only happened once, and I think it was like 1 or 2 shrimp. So our success rate is actually high. So oh, I'm glad, Bree, that it was you. Okay. All right. Let's see what else we've got. Are you selling or breeding any goldfish? No, we've only actually got the 1 goldfish right now, and that's not likely to change unless we can do a bigger tank, which at the moment is not possible. And also I feel for Belfin that the tank size we've got him in is perfect. I do think that he's not had any swimming issues since going into it, so it does sort of concern me if we were to go to a bigger tank, then it would probably be a lot deeper, in which case I worry that then that would obviously cause the swimming issues again. So I think that at the moment 1 fish, which means obviously no babies, but they are something actually I would enjoy breeding again, I have to say. I very much enjoyed that process, but I think it probably was because there isn't maybe as much work involved in the water changing. I mean, you still did need to do a lot of that, but I think that you don't need to do it as much, and obviously you don't have to separate them out and all that sort of stuff. So that is something that I would definitely contemplate doing again in the future. I apologise if you can hear tapping in the video in the background. It's my dog tapping around on the floor. Will you ever have turtles? Possibly. I have actually recently been looking at different ones and different sizes and that sort of stuff. So again, I don't want to say never, but it's definitely not imminent, that's for sure. Let's see. Yep, failing is a big part. I always try to make sure that people I educate understand that bettas are hard to breed and you will fail at something. That is true. At the end of the day, I see failing as not a negative. I mean, sometimes obviously it can be hard if you fail and especially if there's an animal involved and the animal is deformed or dies or whatever. But I do think that having failures or sort of having difficulty, that to me, you can learn from it. You can learn so much from something not working out and then having to research it. So although I say I failed and I feel really bad about that, I learned a lot from it. I learned an awful lot from it. So I am thankful for the failure because I have learned a lot from it. So, you know, I guess it's like a double-edged sword, you know, it's got its good and bad. All right. Yeah, I think Big City Beta should make more videos too. I hope you're listening, Amber. All right, let's see. Belfin says hi. Yeah, he does. He says hi. Yeah, for sure. In fact, I was going to say I could go take you over to see him, but the lights and stuff aren't on, so let's see. Hobbyist Fish Keeper. I purchased 3 females and 1 male this week. They were in a mixed tank with probably 3 other males and 20 to 30 females. When I got them home, 2 of the females started to beat the male up, but they were fine in, and then you've stopped at that point. yeah, that unfortunately that is something that I would never advocate, is males and females in the same tank, no matter what ratio. I just feel that it's a disaster waiting to happen. Again, there are videos out there on YouTube where people have done it, but you only have to watch the fish's behavior and their body language. If you actually look at them, most of the time they do have ripped and torn fins, they have stress stripes. So to me, what might appear for a 5, 10, 2-minute video, whatever it is, to be okay, that is a very, very small portion of time to say, oh hey, this works, out of a 24-hour day, 7 days a week, you know, sort of 30, 31 days in a month, 365 days a year. So to me, that is just something I would never, ever advocate doing. I think it's dangerous to the fish, and it's not their natural, I would like to say that it's not like their natural environment to do that. So, okay. Love Belfin. Yeah, everybody seems to love Belfin. He seems to have quite the following for sure. We need Belfin t-shirts. Oh, now there's an now. If my son's seen that one, my goodness, you've given him an idea. Oh yeah, he has seen it. Oh, Belfin t-shirts. I like that idea. Yeah, that would be quite cool, actually. That would be quite cool. All right. Oh, that would be really good. Why do you like fluval bug bites? Well, my fish absolutely adore fluval bug bites. We do actually sell them on our website. We sell very, we don't sell a lot of food on our website. Fluval bug bites is one of them, and Rapashi gel food is the other. And we will only sell anything that we totally believe in and that we use ourselves. We use a lot of Rapashi gel food for our fish, our snails, and particularly our goldfish. And then we do also use the fluval bug bites. And what got me into those was, I think it was Corey from Aquarium Co-op do a video on them about how his fish love them. And at the time we had an import that was extremely finicky, and basically we tried everything we could possibly think of and she wouldn't eat. And so we got some fluval bug bites and we have just never looked back. It is my go-to food. In fact, we've had another finicky import since then, and the fluval bug bites did a great job on that. And I'll tell you another food that I've come across just recently. I've been using it now for about a month, I think it is, and that is the new Hikari Vibes. And that food, the fish go crazy for. Absolutely love that food. It is maybe one that I'm going to look into us selling as well, because the fish just absolutely love it. And what is really neat is one of our puffer fish who will only eat bloodworms. Well, he will eat snails occasionally, but he's our really, really finicky puffer fish. And whereas the others will eat anything, gel food included, they obviously love their snails. They'll eat pellet food, they'll eat anything, and then obviously all the array of frozen foods. And he will even eat these vibes. In fact, he goes crazy for them. And last night I fed a mixture of pellet with the vibes. I do like a pellet mixture of different ones. And he ended up with his little belly was absolutely popping by the time he finished. So that is another food I would definitely recommend. All right. My chat keeps jumping. All right. Okay. Rapashi saved my 8.5-year goldfish's life, swim bladder issues. Yeah, that is something that when we moved our goldfish, we did feed a lot of Rapashi when we moved them, or moved him, I should say, into the smaller tank to test stuff out. We originally moved him into a 10-gallon because his swimming was so bad. And within literally a few days, the swimming issues were gone. We'd fed exclusively the Rapashi gel food. Now I actually make up the Rapashi gel food with, I do it with I do the ripashi itself, and then I also add in frozen foods. I usually do, we have a ton of baby brine shrimp, so I'm using that up, and I also put brine shrimp in as well. And both of those are has been fantastic. So I do feed peas and broccoli as well, but for the most part, it is near enough 100% ripashi. And like you, I feel that plus obviously changing the tank size has made a huge difference. He's now in a 20-gallon long, by the way, for those of you that don't follow. He is now in a 20-gallon long, and I do wish that we could get, I would love a 30-gallon long for him. I think that would just be absolutely perfect, but unfortunately they're extremely expensive, and they're really, really hard to get as well. So around here, I think I've only ever seen one, and it was really expensive, and then I've never seen another one since, because it must have sold, because when I went back it had gone. So all right, do you soak your bug bites? No, we don't. They just go straight in. The thing, a lot of people don't tend to like them, because when you put them in, they just, they're like sort of float on the top. Some will sink and some will float, but I really like that, because depending what fish you've got in the tank, some are top feeders, some are middle feeders. And so for me, it absolutely, you know, sort of works, because the ones that like to feed off the top take them off the top, and the ones that like to feed lower down then do that. So yeah, I do think that that was one of the best foods. I absolutely love it. We also do like New Life Spectrum as well. I do feed that a lot as well. What I tend to do is make like a pellet mix. So I'll take some of the fluval bug bites, I'll take some of the small fish New Life Spectrum, and then also these vibes. These vibes are absolutely brilliant. And then I just mix the whole lot together, and I've then just got a mix, and that's what I feed. But we don't feed pellets that often, maybe twice a week, I would say. The rest of the time they get either the ripashi or the frozen food more than the other. So yeah, I mean, you can soak the food. There's nothing wrong in doing that. Some people choose to, some don't. If I want to medicate a fish, or I want the pellets soaked in garlic, then in fact I've actually just been doing that recently. I've just made up a load of ripashi with garlic, because I'm a little concerned bellfin might be starting with an infection. And so I've started that, and to my horror, when I went and looked at medication, I didn't have the one that I would use if it does turn out to be something. So I've just ordered that as well, so that is on its way. All right, let me see. Yeah, for guppies, the fluval bug bites, you can actually just crush them down. That's what we did when we had our guppies. We were feeding fluval bug bites, and I think we were doing the New Life Spectrum as well, and both were too big. But I just got the is it the, oh, I can't think what it's called, is it pestle and mortar, the little like bowl that you can like grind them up, and we just did that, and that worked no problem at all. So we were still able to feed them. Andy says, Sheila, hey. Hey Andy. All right, so let's see what else we've got here. Okay, Andrew says, I was wondering what would happen if I put just 2 Corys in a tank. What would happen since they are a schooling fish? Just wondering. What would happen? Well, to me personally, I think that they probably would just be more skittish. They wouldn't be 100% happy. In the wild, most Corys live in very, very large groups that we probably could never simulate in an aquarium. So that is why people come up with these figures of like minimum 5, minimum 6, minimum 8, whatever it is to give a minimum at what that fish can live at, where it is as happy as you're going to make it. So to me, I would not do any less than 5. Actually, right now, I think we've got 4 in the tank, and eventually the ones that we've got seem to be really hard to find. So eventually, I am hoping that we will find maybe a couple more to add to them. Ours are not that skittish, but like I say, we've got 4. But really, ideally, I think that 5 to 7 is minimum, depending on the Cory itself. I just came home with my first Betta fish. Congratulations. I got 2 big blue mystery snails from you like 2 months ago, and they are huge. Yeah, they are really, really big. Actually, on the subject of mystery snails, let's just go there for a minute. I keep getting a lot of emails and messages to when are we going to have some more available, and we're not going to have any now for probably at least 2 to 3 months, I think, because the last batch that we had unfortunately had a very serious defect, and so they are not something that we're going to be able to sell. Thankfully, I was able to feed most of them to our pufferfish, so that was very, very sad because they were about 3 to 4 weeks old before the defect actually showed up. So unfortunately, it has left us with virtually, well, we've got no babies. We've only got our adults, and then the ones that we have kept from previous batches that are actually growing up. So yeah, so unfortunately no mystery snails for a very, very long time. Yeah, very sad indeed, Shadow City Lights, because it was actually the purple and magenta batch as well. So that was really, really sad. That we did have 2 batches, very few survived, so I suspect there's an issue with the genetics there. I do have a few more clutches ready to hatch, or they're in the process of potentially hatching, so I am hoping that we don't hit the same issues again. If we do, then I know that, you know, they're going to be no good for breeding, which is sad, very, very sad, because they're such beautiful snails. All right, what else do we have here? What does garlic do for betas? The garlic was actually for, we were putting it in the food for our goldfish. However, excuse me, if you have a fish that is sick, has a bacterial infection, is maybe just generally under the weather and you're not quite sure what is going on, garlic can be a good thing to soak food in. Or if you're making up the likes of ripashi, like I've just said about, you can add it into that. You can also use something like Vitachem as well, and that will also have the vitamins that you need in the water, well, in the food, or you can actually put that in the water as well. But we do use garlic in the food, not all the time. We do it probably every other batch. We don't do it every time. But when a fish maybe isn't looking so good, or there might be some issues, we put it in because it does have sort of properties that can help fight off certain issues. So so it's just a good thing to use. It's garlic juice. We actually use the one that's actually from Seachem, and it is a garlic liquid. However, you can just use regular garlic, or you can use garlic juice and just put it in. Obviously don't overdo it, but it is actually quite healthy for fish. It's also an appetite enhancer. So if you have got a fish who is maybe picky or doesn't want to eat, or has been sick and has not really got the appetite back, then by using garlic, that's something else as well that you can do to help them sort of start eating. So all right, let me see. Oh, 5 Sheepy 3. I'm going to head out to do some work. Have a nice day, everyone. All right, I will speak to you later. Let me see, what else have we got here? Okay, so Alexa says, I didn't get to cycle a tank. I'm just going to keep watch on the water quality. Also, I got some live plants, so I think that will help. If you didn't cycle the tank, you are going to need to do water changes about every 2 to 3 days, and they're going to need to be large water changes. Otherwise, your water will end up very toxic. Unfortunately, plants at the beginning, when a tank is getting cycled, whilst they will help, we're talking a very, very small amount of help. They will do barely nothing at this point. Now, when a tank gets established, then plants are extremely helpful, just not so much at the very beginning of a tank setup. So just make sure that you do a lot of water changes. Otherwise, you will end up with the very common issues that go with poor water quality, such as fin rot, or that the beta fish will be so stressed out it will start fin nipping. So you can have both of those. Please do a video on axolotls. I don't have any axolotls and don't plan to have any axolotls, so I can't oblige on that one. I am sorry. All right. Is it okay to have snails with goldfish? There are many differing opinions on this one. We do keep snails with goldfish. I would not recommend keeping small snails such as things like, let me see, things like your pond snails or ram's horn snails. I wouldn't keep things like that with goldfish, simply because they're too small and goldfish could swallow them, choke on them, that sort of stuff. However, I do think that the likes of a nerite snail, as long as it's the bigger one, not the horned one, maybe the zebra or the tiger nerite, then they are a good snail, in my opinion, for a goldfish tank. And also, I have found no issues with mystery snails. Now, some people have, because the goldfish will constantly go after the little antennas because they think they're little worms or something. However, we don't have any issues. So that one, I think, would have to be a case-by-case basis. The other thing that you do need to make sure as well, or keep in mind, is snails do produce a lot of waste, and so you are adding even more bioload to a tank that does have a normally higher bioload anyway. So that's something else that you need to keep in mind as well. So, but as long as you're doing, you know, your large regular water changes and you've got really good filtration, then it shouldn't be a problem. All right. Are platies ideal for a beta community tank? Brian, I would say, again, case-by-case basis. We have done it with no issue whatsoever, but I have heard of a lot of people where they don't do very well. So that is, I would say, I guess it depends on the setup on your tank and what size the tank is it well planted and all that sort of stuff, and basically what your beta fish is like. So it's something that maybe you could try, but like I said, we had no issues, but I do know that a lot of people do. What do you recommend for fin rot for betas? Lots of water changes. If it's very, very severe, I would not use anything with the ending in fix, like Betafix, Malafix. I wouldn't use any of those. We would use the erythromycin or I think it's Maricin 2. They are the two I swear by. General Cure is another good one, but I'm not sure that's bacterial. I think that is for other. But they're the three medications that we use if we ever have to use. It's very, very rare we ever need to, but if we do, they're the medications that we use. But if it's not severe, then just a lot of water changes. I would do daily water changes, and I would also add aquarium salt as well, and that should take care of it. And then you then need to obviously then just make sure the water parameters are good, because that is probably what's caused it in the first place. Not always, but most of the time, that is what causes it. All right, let me see. How do you prepare the garlic? Like I say, we actually use the Seachem one, so it comes in an actual bottle. I think you can get it in like a little size. We've got the big one, but you can get it in the little size, and then you just measure it out based on what they say. If you're going to use garlic generally, then I would just like mince up a little, and you'll get the juices, and then sit the food in it. Or you can get, you know, like the jars, I'm not even sure what they're called, but you can get sort of like the jars in the store, and they've got like garlic in them, there's like juice in it. We have used that in the past as well, so you can use that as well. Let's see. All right, let me just deal with that one. Okay. Let me see. Okay, so how is Bellfin and all your other fish? Also, were you at the aquatic experience? I wish. We would love to have gone to that. It looked like everybody had so much fun, but unfortunately we were not able to. Maybe next year, we'll have to wait and see. The fish are all doing well. Like I said before, Bellfin, I'm a little concerned maybe he might be starting with a bacterial infection, so we are keeping a very, very close eye on him. and I do have medication on the way just in case we have to use it. So yeah, he's my concern right now, because he's not 100%. So I'm hoping that you know, he's going to be okay with lots of water changes, and like I say, we've been doing the food. His appetite is perfectly fine, so I've been doing the food with the garlic in. So all right. Tank raised for sure, Genji. When purchasing fish online, which would be better, wild caught or tank raised? Tank raised, in my opinion, simply because if they're tank raised, then they're already eating what we would class as your foods, whereas if you're going to do wild caught and they haven't been transitioned over onto, you know, prepared foods or non-live foods or whatever that is, it can be really difficult. With our puffer fish, they were wild caught, and it was really difficult getting them to eat all that they now eat. It was a very, very long process. It was quite a stressful process as well, I have to say. So for sure, I would definitely always go tank raised. And also, unless you've done your research on the fish, for all you know, if they're being wild caught, they could be endangered. And a good example of that is the Denison barbs that we have in our 75 gallon. They are actually on the endangered list, and all of ours well, I think we didn't realise it for, I think, the first 3 that we bought, but the rest since then we've made sure that they're tank raised for that very reason, because obviously we don't want to add to issues that are already going on. So all right, I am going to do just a few more, and then I think, gosh, I am so far behind, and then I think I will stop at that. Nisi, thank you so much for joining us. It's good to see you. It's been a while, actually, mind you, it's been a while since we've live streamed. All right, where was I? How can I breed guppies? Usually the ratio is 1 male to 2 to 3 females. We actually did 1 to 2, and then basically it was we just ended up with a lot of babies. With guppies, you really don't have to do very much. Just give them a good environment, lots of good food. Make sure that you've got food for the babies to eat, so that obviously they can grow up and mature. But guppies are really, really easy to breed. So just start out with a male and 2 females, and you'll be good to go. All right. Oh, I hit the wrong button there. If I've just timed somebody, I am so sorry. Gosh, I can't believe we've been going for for over an hour. I think we are gonna call it there. I didn't realise we have been on for so long. It has been a long, this probably is the longest live stream that we have ever done, I think. Oh, Stephanie Murphy says, I'm looking at getting one of your dividers for my 10 gallon, and I'm wondering if I should measure it from the inside or the outside to get the measurements. Not sure what brand of tank it is. Definitely from the inside with no substrate. If your substrate is already in, then you need to make sure that you maybe try and move it out the way so that you get an accurate measurement. If you want to email me with the measurements, I can maybe help you make a decision. That's perfectly fine. Or if you want to DM me on Instagram, lifewithpets72, you can do that also. All right. Oh, and you need, just adding on to that, you need to do the height, and that's the height to underneath the rim of the tank. You don't want like the full, you want to go just to under the rim, and then the width inside as well. Okay, what med do you use for bellfin? I'm assuming that's going to be a bellfin. Yeah, okay. If it turns out to be what I think it is, then we're going to use Maracean 2. That one for me has been proven time and time again. And so if it is what I think he's starting with, then it's something that we will get on straight away. I'm actually thinking of maybe doing it as a preventative, because obviously I don't want anything to happen to him. Belfin is almost 3 years old. He will be 3 in January. So he's not particularly getting on up there in age, because they can live anything from, well, it depends actually who you ask and what you read, but the general opinion seems to be 4 to 6 years or 5 to 8 years. So, you know, somewhere in that thing is how long they're going to live. So, you know, he's not particularly old, but, you know, so I think I'm still sort of toying with, because I think it was yesterday, his behavior was very off. I mean, you guys have seen what he's like. If you put a camera in his face, he is just all there and so pleased to see you and so happy. Whereas yesterday he was extremely skittish, and obviously just didn't want it. So I obviously didn't do it. I took the camera away, but every time I went near him, he wasn't his usual puppy dog self, you know, sort of begging. And so I am quite concerned about him. So I may end up doing the treatment as a preventative as well, or as what, yeah, preventative, because, you know, like I say, I don't want anything to happen to him, but that medication is an excellent one, for sort of any infections or that sort of stuff. I've checked his water quality. It's absolutely perfect. So I know that it's not a water quality issue. So, yeah, so, all right, what else have we got? Yeah, almond leaves are also good as well. They are good for fin rot as well. They do have I say healing properties. I would also use the aquarium salt as well. So yeah, almond leaves would be a good choice as well. Yes, Jen, that is a very good point, that having the tank raised does also mean that you don't need to do all the deworming. We had to do a lot of that when we got the pufferfish. We had to do 2 rounds of, we did 2 rounds of general cure and 2 rounds of erythromycin. And I think we even had to do the ick treatment as well. So it was a whole, it was quite stressful. I mean, it was so well worth it. We absolutely adore them. We've had them now for, I think, about 18 months, and they are such characters, but it was hard going. And I think that's what people don't think about when they're buying fish, especially the Amazon puffers. You know, people sort of want to rush in there and get them, and they're not an easy fish to keep. I mean, they are a lovely fish, but they're not an easy fish to keep. And you do have to bear in mind the likes of the trimming of the teeth, because that usually does come with them. We do feed them a lot of snails. A lot of people have said that get them clams on the shell and that would really wear them down. We have tried that so many times and they're just not interested. So we've finally given up on that. But I do feed them frozen shrimp from time to time, and I know that will sort of help gnaw down. So yeah, I think that is a good point, that you would have to do a lot of deworming as well. So Effie in Angel City says, hey Sheila, I'm going to head out now, but thank you so much for the answers and all that you do. My betas are happier, and thank you too. I work for a corporate pet store chain, and send many people to your channel. Well, thank you very, very much. Thank you. Love the poster in the background. Yes. It was actually my husband's idea to put this up here while I did the stream. He's managed to pin it to the wall somehow. But this is what we got from a beta fish show just recently. So yeah. All right. Let's see. Thank you, Nisi, for putting that link. Yeah, our website actually does have, it's not just our store. For those of you that don't know, it does actually have care articles, like different articles on things. So if you want to go over and take a look at it, just have a poke around at the website. Like I say, we do have articles on there. We do have some of our videos on there that are related as well. So I want to say thank you to all the mods. You're doing a good job today. Thank you. I think some people are keeping you fairly busy, so thank you for that. Can you put a link to Amazon for the medicines you use? Yeah, I can do that. In fact, if you go to any of our other videos, and you will find we do have an affiliate link, so let me just put that out there. And what that basically means is, if you click on an Amazon link on our website, in our description box of our videos, that will then take you to our Amazon store. And what that basically means is it's going to show you the products that we use, the products that we like, but we do get, if you buy something, we do get a small commission, and all that does go back into the channel and helping support everything that we do. So if you go to any of our other videos, you will find an Amazon link there somewhere, whether it's to a different product, but it would actually take you into our sort of, it looks like an Amazon store, but it basically just shows you the products that we really like. If I remember, I can actually do a link in this video if you want me to do that as well. I can do that also. All right, let's see. Let me see. Alright, so I'm assuming at Nisi, have you tried giving the puffer snails? I must be missing something in the chat here. So, oh, my brand's puffer's teeth doesn't trim with clams on the half shell. Oh, right, that's interesting, because so many people have said, please, you know, oh, try this, and you know, but we'd been trying it from the beginning, because I do remember watching one of Corey's videos from Aquarium Co-op, and he was showing them feeding on that, and so we kept trying, and I'm not one to give up on keep trying feeding them the same things. We will do it over and over and over again, but unfortunately they don't want to know, and it's not a case of one does but the rest don't. None of them will touch it, which is really unusual, because one of the puffers we have will eat anything we put in the tank. It doesn't matter what it is, they will eat it. Even when I put in, I've got like chunks of clam, which I know is not on the half shell, but I can get like frozen clam, and they don't like that either. It'll just drop to the bottom of the tank, and nobody will touch it. So I've ended up with like 2 packets, I think. I've got 2 packets of frozen clam that nobody will touch, except actually Belfin does like it. So just very, very occasionally I will give it to Belfin. So I went to the Puffer King with tons of questions before buying her. Yeah. Does yours eat snails, Nisi? Mine will eat snails. They will eat snails by the bucket load, but it just doesn't seem to make any sense. We do have rocks in there, because people were saying we'll put rocks in, and they'll grind down on the rocks. Now, I have actually seen them doing that, so I don't know whether that's something you could try, Nisi, for your puffer, but they obviously don't do it enough. We have like 2 big slabs in there that I think that they're quite hidden, but they are in there, and I do see them doing it, but you know, it's not made any difference. So unfortunately we had to trim, and I am sure we will have to do it again at some point, but it didn't seem to bother them at all. We did only give them enough of the stuff that it, you know, it sort of knocked them out very, very lightly, and it doesn't seem to have had any effect whatsoever. Jen G says, your video of trimming your puffer's teeth was fascinating, Sheila. Had me sitting on the edge of my seat. I was such a wreck, and so was my husband doing that. We knew when we bought them that it was a possibility. Because again, I know I keep mentioning Corey's video, but it's such a good video on the pufferfish. And I know that he did say in that video that it is a big problem. And so we did know going into it that it was a possibility. And if I'm honest, I was thinking, oh, it'll be fine. You know, it'll be okay. We'll figure it out, and trimming their teeth won't be a big deal. But let me tell you, I don't think to the pufferfish it was too big of a deal, because like I say, the way we did it, it wasn't that bad. But for us, my husband and I, we were freaking out doing it, but it was all over within literally seconds for each fish. We had some really good clippers that we used, and so it literally cut the teeth very, very quickly, and then obviously we got them back into oxygenated water. They were awake in no time, and it was all good. So but yeah, it was unpleasant, and I can't say I'm looking forward to if we have to do it again, but I'm hoping it's going to be no more than a once a year thing. Apparently a lot of people have to do it about every 6 months. We've had them now for I think a year and a half. We're coming on a year and a half, and in that time we have had to only do it once, and we certainly don't need to do it anytime soon. So I'm hoping we'll get maybe once a year, and that's all we'll have to do. So All right, I am thinking Cuttlebone can also be purchased at the store. Oh, somebody asking about Cuttlebone. Did I miss that? Let me see. Oh, maybe try adding Cuttlebone to use to trim their beaks. Yeah, I could maybe put some in and see if they'd bite on it. I'm not sure whether that would work, but yeah, I could definitely give it a go because we do have a lot of Cuttlebone here because as Breezy says, we do sell it on our website as part of our snail package. So yeah, okay. All right, so let's see. Can tumours in bettas be cured? Sadly, not usually. I think that I've read a fair bit on this, and generally I think that in some instances it can be slowed down, and a lot of people will swear by almond leaves for this, by really putting a lot in a tank, because they do have a lot of good properties for a betta fish. So I don't know that it can be cured, but I think that the process can maybe be slowed down. Our betta fish Theo, who we lost about a month, 6 weeks ago, he did grow a tumour. Now he had it for quite a long time, and we did do the almond leaves, and I don't know whether it did or it didn't slow it down, but he did last a long time with the tumour, but eventually obviously it did get the better of him. So all right, guys, I think that I am going to call it a day here. I think that we have been going 80 minutes. That is definitely my longest live stream for sure. So I am going to call it a day here. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you to all the mods who have done a great job modding for me. Thank you for that. And we will see you in our next video. For those of you that don't know, we do videos every Tuesday. I am trying different times of releasing them. We used to release at 11 in the morning. I'm actually trying out between 4 and 5 o'clock now. So look out for that. And is the Cuttlebone the same as the ones used for birds? Yes, it is. We do use those for our snails. We have it in our snail tank to add calcium. And if you go on our website, we do actually have it on our website for sale. If you want to take a look. All right, guys, thanks so much for joining us, and we will see you next time.